Ray Allen Canine. It's no secret that we love Ray Allen Canine equipment. We use their products every single day at both Van Ness Canine and at Torchlight. Their mission statement says it all: to be the world leader in quality innovation for professional canine equipment for police, military, Schutzen, and ring sport. Tend to exceed their customers' expectations and deliver on time every time at a fair price. We full heartedly believe that they've held true to that since it is our go to one stop shop for everything canine, not just police dogs, but for any working dog.
This episode is also brought to you by our good friends over at Dogtra, dogtra.com. It's the e-collars that Ted and I use. It's the e-collars most police dog guys use. Dogtra.com, e-collars, bark collars, ball launchers, one-stop shop for everything you need for your working dog, dogtra.com.
One of the other sponsors we're proud to have is HITS Canine Training Conference. It's the premier canine training seminar in the United States, packed to the brim with the world's best instructors covering important topics from admins to liability to detection work, all and tracking and everything in between. There's no better place to learn and no better place to network with other handlers, breeders, and trainers. HITS 2022 is being held in Orlando in August. So hit them up, hitscanine.net.
We're super happy to be represented by our good friends at Kinetic Dog Food. We've got great reviews from people all over the place. Ever since we joined up with them and partnered with them, their commitment to your dog's nutrition is top notch. KineticDogFood.com. Check them out.
Jim over at NC Canine out in North Carolina. It's the culmination of 13 years of experience in handling or training law enforcement canines. They use real world deployments to develop their training program and rely not only on their experience, but the current experience of the nation's canine handlers provide the best canine partner you can get. They provide pet training and police canine training based out of Four Oaks, North Carolina, and they serve the surrounding areas as well as nationally. Feel free to call them and learn more about their dog training program, police canine techniques, and methodologies.
We got a brand new sponsor, man, American Aluminum Accessories. My entire time in canine, and ever since I've been involved in the dogs, the kennel in the back of our cruisers has always been American Aluminum. Check them out. We're so happy to have them on here. EasyRiderOnline.com, EasyRiderOnline.com for everything you need from American Aluminum Accessories.
Speaking of kennels, once you get out of the car, you got to have somewhere to put them. So our friends up in Ohio at Horizon Structures make a one-stop shop for kennel. If you want a 2-dog kennel or if you want a 20-dog kennel, they got you covered. They get those things built and they drop it off at your house. All you got to have is a pad, electricity, and water, and you can put dogs in it that day. Horizon Structures can build you anything from mild to wild, and it is the one-stop shop, and you don't have to swing a single hammer. So hit them up, horizonstructures.com. Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite. We are back. I am Ted Summers from the sauna that is Tulsa today. It fucking rained and the sun came out, and you could see steam on the road. I was like, "This is bullshit." I'm going inside. Eric, what's up? Where are you?
Just over here in Ohio. I've got six green dogs in the kennel, a couple of labs, some Mals, a shepherd who is insane. Training those guys up for different agencies, different levels of training. Some I'm just doing imprinting on. Two of them I'm completing all the way through. One's a green plus. And I think that's about it. Boarding a police dog, boarding a Cane Corso, that Cane Corso for you purists, that I trained with as a puppy. His name is Tony. Dog's fucking awesome, man. I love that dog. So I'm doing like half days at that, and then up to the facility for the rest of the day, the new pet facility. I have we do day training where you drop off and we train the dogs all day, and then you pick up at the end of the day, like summer camp for your kids.
Yeah,
So,
summer camp.
yeah, we had
It's like
5
soccer
dogs
camp.
start today. So I have in-house trainers that are doing it, but I like to go up and get some reps in and help and that type of stuff. So, and then they always give me a laundry list of things they need, like paper towels and poop bags and all the other horse shit that goes along with all this stuff. But we're rolling along. I had 12 trainers now.
Excellent.
All booked out into end of August, something like that. So, yeah, plugging away. How about you? What's going on the training side?
We got a bunch of pet dogs, and I have some greenies, and then I have a handler school started today with Gizmo Chacho, the lab. He is just a He is a psychopath. He is just he. I don't think I've ever seen him sit still. So he about melted in the heat today though. So that was fun. He
Yeah.
was the handler's like, why isn't he like? He's like, he doesn't seem like he wants to work. I'm like, yeah, because the heat index is 115. So I don't want to either. So we'll be back tomorrow morning at 7:30. How about that? When it's nice and cool. Uh, other than that, I have a little baby Kenny Corso in the kennel right now. She's here for our
Yeah, I've
puppy prep
seen.
program.
They look the
Yeah,
same. Looks just
Mia.
like this
Yeah.
Tony dog I have.
It's interesting because I take her out in public like Home Depot or whatever, and people, it's like Charlton Heston parting the seas, like nobody wants to pet her. I'm like, oh, come pet her,
Mhm.
please. Like, come pet her. Like, wait for her to sit, and then when she sits and looks at you and doesn't jump on, then you're free to pet her, but just wait. People are like, oh, I'm okay. I'll literally come back in 10 minutes later with the baby German Shepherd or the baby lab, like a little puppy lab, and people are like, oh my god, can I pet him? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, sure, you can. Yeah, we had
Hmm.
a Dogo Argentino I just sent home, also, same thing. Like, and he was 4 months old and already like 60 pounds, huge dog. And people are like, you'd walk him through and people would like part. I'm like, no, you can come pet him. It's fine. Take him in public, out into restaurants and sit on the fucking patio. And people are like, oh, I'm scared of dogs. I'm like, he's a puppy. I've got pickles in my fridge older than this dog. You don't need to be scared of him. Like, come pet him, please. Because if not, he turns into a defensive dickhead, which is why he's here. So help me make him not that way. People are not having it. So, although I did have something funny happen, we had a German Shepherd puppy in there, and I was in Home Depot, and this kid, there was like a 10-year-old kid in there. I was like, "Hey, kid," I said something to him. I was like, "Hey, you want to come over and pet this dog?" And he's like, "Yeah,
That doesn't
sure."
sound
And
weird at all.
no, it doesn't. And then
Mhm.
so and I was like,
Or,
oh, because kids are the worst, and they're gonna come over and get in his face. And so I was like, hey, just wait till he sits, and then you can pet him and whatever else. So the entire time, his mom looked at him, was like just staring at me, and I had like a sleeveless band T-shirt on, tattoos everywhere, and I'm sure I just looked like a homeless shithead, and with
Mhm.
a puppy. And then as she left, Paul, my intern Paul, was like, you know, like you freaked her out, right? I'm like, why? He was like, that's literally what they tell you not to do. Don't talk to strangers with puppies. I'm like, oh man, where this kid goes to school is doing a terrible job. Like it was, yeah. So now now kids come up and I'm like, yeah, I kind of look around and make sure, which I'm sure makes it even worse. Like I look around like I'm about to do something wrong. And I'm like, yeah, you can. And I ask their parents, like, you're their parents? Like you can, yeah, can the kid pet the dog? Yeah, sure. So,
Hmm.
it did not help my case. So,
No.
so what are we doing tonight?
So, a while back, a long time ago, I'm gonna say late 2010. I was invited by a friend of mine that owns a company that provides role players and some things for some special operations groups in the Marine Corps to go over to this base in Indiana. Base, I call it. It's kind of a joint operation with University of Indiana and or Purdue University and some other stuff going on. The Naval Special Warfare on the East Coast were there doing some workups, and they asked if I wanted to come meet the K9 guy. So the trainer, yeah, sure. So I go over there and spent like 3 days at this place, and I was amazed. It's the layout of this place. There's for training, whether it's going to be military, police, or search and rescue is one of a kind. Really, it's pretty laid out. Um, that I don't really want to get into everything that they have there, but it's just almost everything you can think of to cover those three genres. They can transform things, make things specific for whoever is there, but I'd never heard of it, and it was amazing. And that meeting there is what ended up getting me into work for Cobra and work the contract. It's a whole long thing, but I've been back 2 other times. I was just there in April. I helped teach. There was a law enforcement and search and rescue seminar there. So they had me come over as the LE guy. And it's even better than when I was there before. They've added some stuff. They have one thing I can say for the search and rescue people, they have a sunken, I don't know what you call it, a neighborhood, like a flooded area full of houses where you got to get on boats and get your dogs out and rescue. And there's cavities in these houses and stuff like that. It's pretty amazing. So I saw on some pages that our friend Jean-Claude Leblanc, who's been on before, he was a deep into the dog side of a special missions unit back in the day, and I started seeing this conference coming up at the Muscatatuck Urban Training Center, MUTC, in Indiana. And so I reached out. I said, let's get him on and talk about what they got going on over there, because before we came on, we were just talking about it. So many people don't know about that place, and it is pretty sweet place to train there. So without further ado, we'll bring back on Jean-Claude Leblanc. Jean, how are you, buddy?
Hey, great having me again, guys.
Yeah, it's a good time. Your episode before, what you remember the number of that one, Ted?
Man,
It was last year, I think, right?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think it was like in the 80s or 90s. I don't remember. I had to pull up.
I don't think it was that far back, but
Was it?
we had a good
No, it wasn't that.
time.
I don't even know. I don't even know which one this is. think
my
we're in
old
the 30s.
my old unit and the association that I was with when I was a trainer, we have a long relationship with Jean-Claude. It goes back to I want to say 10, 11, somewhere around there, 2010, 2011, maybe earlier than that, getting some we talked about it in the last episode about getting some equipment from him, hip leads and different things like that. So what have you been doing since the last time we talked?
well, man, I'm still doing the my direct action canine thing, but since then I've also started a nonprofit organization called the American Tactical Canine Association. And part of the reason for starting this nonprofit was, man, like you guys have experienced as well, man, and you guys talk about it quite a bit. But when it comes to canine, man, the funding and the training level that officers get is really piss poor, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to go around and work with a lot of law enforcement agencies, and man, it kind of saddens me that you're like, man, these dudes are out there putting it on the line every single night, and man, and either they're not to the level that they should be, their dog's not to the level they should be, whatever the case may be. But it really always blows me away how, you know, the SWAT teams are always so well funded and equipped, you know, and as they should be. But then you've got your canine guys who are being used daily, and there's a lot of liability, you know, if used incorrectly. And they also bring in a lot of revenue to the department. And man, they maybe get to train once a week if they're in a bigger department. I noticed their funding isn't there for them to go get additional training. So I wanted to start this nonprofit. You know, there's a ton of them out there that do, hey man, equipment and vests and stuff like that. And man, I think that's great. But not a whole lot of nonprofits that do training for guys. So my goal was to provide the same level of training that I got while I was in by those same caliber of instructors for a basically very discounted rate, to enable guys to get that quality of training at a rate that they can afford, you know. So we put together the association, and then we started putting together our first conference, which we're looking at having this upcoming September. So the conference is, like you mentioned, it's going to be at the Muscatatuck Urban Training Center in Indiana. Phenomenal training facility, like you mentioned. It's got everything you can think of, especially when it comes to working environmentals with dogs. So I mean, man, not many places that that compare to this place. And started bringing in all the instructors that either worked at these tier 1 organizations or, you know, had a part in their training programs. So started making phone calls. Yep, everyone wanted to participate. So now we've got I think we've got about 20 something instructors that we're bringing in on this first one. And you know, again, what we're looking at is 4 training days and a vendor day. And it's basically like an a la carte menu for guys. So once they register, they can choose, you know, for these courses. They're each 1-day courses. And one of the things we wanted to do was we wanted to limit the amount of guys that we brought in, specifically to ensure that hey man, it's not about the numbers. It's more about the training and ensuring that these guys go home trained. So I got with each instructor, hey man, how many guys can you handle per class to ensure that they walk away trained? Got each of their numbers, and that's how we came up with our cap for the event. Again, it's not about making money and bringing in as many numbers as we can. It's all about guys being able to take those skill sets and the very next day that they get home, start implementing them into their training programs. So that was super important to me. So yeah, with that, we've also got a vendor day in there where guys get to see all the latest and greatest canine equipment out there. And it's not just canine equipment, but something that makes this one somewhat unique compared to other vendor shows is we're asking a lot of the vendors that actually have equipment that can tie into the training to incorporate their stuff into the actual training scenarios and classes and stuff. That way, not only do guys get the typical table spiel from the vendors, but they're also able to get that hands-on experience so they can go back to their chains of command and be able to articulate how each one of those pieces of gear can benefit them and meet those gaps that they have, those operational requirements that they have. So that was something we're also looking at doing. And the other thing is we're gonna hold a banquet that evening as well. During the banquet, it's not very formal like some of the places that you've seen in the past. But one of the things we're looking at doing is we're bringing in Rick Hogg, who's a former Army operator handler, and we're also bringing in Will Chesney, who's a Navy operator handler. And some of you guys might know Will Chesney. He was the handler on the Bin Laden raid. So, he's got his book out there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the other unique thing about this is we're going to have a wide or a pretty diverse set of attendees. So you've got guys from both conventional and soft military units of all the different branches, as well as federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. So to me, I feel like that's just as beneficial as the quality of instruction, because a lot of these guys, you get to see some of these tier 1 level handlers run their dogs. And to me, it just kind of validates the instructors that are there. Like, hey, man, these are the guys that got those dudes to that level. So it's only open to military and law enforcement. So that allows guys to go in there and, feel comfortable with exchanging their TTPs and ways that they conduct business without having to worry about, like, oh, hey, man, I don't feel comfortable talking in front of civilians on how we do. So yeah, man, we're super excited. We're looking forward to this thing, and hopefully, man, this kind of changes the culture away from that kind of lecture-based symposium type thing, which has definitely got its place, but I feel like there's not anything like this out there in the canine world that brings you this level of training. Especially at like for this first one, we're charging $500 for the conference, and that includes registration, meals, and lodging. So everything is going to be right there at the camp, and it provides you the ability to do training, the ability to network with everyone, to exchange ideas, to see new equipment, to test new equipment. So again, we're really looking forward to this, and we've got a pretty much all-star lineup of instructors for this event coming up. Man, we've got Armin Winkler coming in. He's going to be teaching some the new age use of canines in the tactical environment with your tactical teams, kind of that SWAT integration. You guys touch on that as well. Mm-hmm. We've got Paul Ludwig from Iron Dog. He's going to be doing a lot of problem solving and scenario based training. You've got Franco Angelini, which is kind of funny. I've spoken to several of the sponsors sponsors, and they're like, wait a minute, you got Franco and Armin coming to the same venue? Like, how'd you pull that off? So anyways, man, but Franco's going to come in and give his professional decoy course. We've got my company, Direct Action Canine. We're teaching, the scenario based stuff as well. Police canine consultants, they're going to be demonstrating the arm and leg training system. It's that realistic arm looking thing that kind of helps those dogs transition from sleeves and equipment to something a little more natural, that human arm looking and leg looking training gear. We got Warhog Tactical, who is Rick Hogg's company. He's going to be teaching advanced pistol marksmanship with canine. So that's going to be a great class as well. A lot of guys, I don't think they focus on that marksmanship aspect of yeah. Hell, a lot of guys don't even work on gunfire neutralization, so to me that's something that's very important. We've got Janice Baker and VTG coming in, the veterinary tactical group. They're going to be teaching obviously their canine TCCC, teaching guys how to deal with trauma in your canines and stuff, and different equipment to carry, and how to save that life of your canine and get them to the next level of care. Justin Rigney's coming in teaching his e-collar class. We've got First In Canine. They're going to be showing guys how to negotiate vertical obstacles like attics, ladders, climbing over stuff, which is something that, I don't think a lot of guys really take into consideration. You've got Cameron Ford coming in, giving a detection class, as well as precision explosives. They're going to be given like a post blast IED search. So like, hey, blast goes off and you still got to look for secondaries. And that's something that I think a lot of guys don't really focus on, but it's a huge issue when guys are downrange doing explosive detection type stuff. You've got Donnie Meese from Cincinnati SWAT. He's going to be teaching tactical obedience and the fundamentals of how to get there. Not just, hey man, this is the stuff you need to do, but all the building blocks to get guys. Hey man, you decide what is important to you for tactical obedience, and Donnie's going to show you how to get there, and how to do those building blocks and fundamentals. Reback USA, they're coming in to teach guys rappelling and fast roping with your dogs. That obviously, like, man, there's some departments that definitely need those skill sets. Bigger departments that have the helo capacity, being able to fast rope and rappel out of helos, search and rescue type stuff. Like there's a lot of different applications for handlers being able to have that skill set. You've got DCM Consulting, which another Dutch Moyer. He's another former unit operator handler. He was also the program manager for the K9 unit there. And he's going to be teaching advanced rifle marksmanship and CQB fundamentals. Then, man, we've got Ashley Horner coming in. She's a, fitness lady who's going to be teaching basically functional fitness for handler conditioning. So she's going to be, you guys know that, man, there's a lot of motions and functional movements that we do as handlers that, man, guys don't take it into consideration when they're in the gym, like, hey, that freaking lifting a dog up, that 90-pound dog up over your head, lowering them down a wall, lifting them back up by the leash, a lot of those movements that guys just don't work out. And, so, hey man, let us teach you those movements that are going to help your workout programs, so it makes you a better handler for that dog. We've also got Storm Dog Tactical, Mike Pennington. He's going to be coming in and teaching that gunfire neutralization, which again, is very important for handlers. Invictus UAS. We're going to have Jason come in and teach guys how to incorporate UAVs into the canine operations. And a lot of guys don't take that into consideration, but man, you can utilize these tools to help set conditions in your favor. For instance, hey man, I can throw a UAS up while I'm doing a track, and if a guy decides to dog leg back and try to ambush us, we've got that overhead situational awareness, especially for those departments that don't have those helicopter assets at their disposal. We've got Pat Nolan. Pat Nolan is, he's a big gun dog guy, but he teaches that directionals with canines, and being able to, which is very important for those explosive detector handlers, and hell, I firsthand utilize his techniques downrange in Syria. And it, like, detection's detection when you're teaching that, odor's odor. But man, there's a big difference in the tactics you use as an explosive dog handler versus a narc dog handler. Like, I don't want to be at the end of a 15-foot leash looking for bombs. I want to have as much separation between my dog and I, so Pat can teach those techniques and how to be able to control your dog off lead and be able to utilize that dog, in the best capacity you can when searching for explosives. Then we've got a company called Breach Pen coming in, and man, this is a really unique tool, but it looks like a road flare, but you light this thing and it offers you 30 seconds of thermal breaching. So it's a tool, like, not a whole lot of handlers are going to carry a set of bolt cutters or breaching tools on their back, but this it looks like a road flare. And when a handler runs into an obstacle that he can't breach because he doesn't have the tools, now he can carry something that's going to give him that breaching capability, which in turn can potentially shave time off of his reaction to go ahead and be able to save the day, basically, when time is of the essence. So we got a lot of instructors coming in, and man, we couldn't have done this without the help of our corporate sponsors, man. We were super fortunate to get a lot of support from these sponsors, man. We've got, the Cincinnati Blue Line Foundation. They're a big sponsor of ours. Lazarus and Lewis, they're attorneys, another big sponsor. Man, your old guys, the Police Canine Association, they're helping out in a big way as well. You've got, man, TAC Med Solutions, Spikes Canine Fund, and the list goes on and on and on of all the different support that we're getting from these organizations that just want to see a great event happen. And so yeah, man, that's kind of where we're going with this whole conference here. And right now we're just trying to get the word out and let guys know.
I think listening to that list, if I'm a handler, if you don't go there with a plan, like, this is my shortcomings, you're going to walk in a circle. Like, what the fuck? Where do I go? Who?
This, what, 4 days you said?
This? Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Shit. Let me go over here. So definitely when you go to something like this, make sure that you have a plan of what you really need to learn, and not just go because it's a guy you want to meet. You You definitely need to have a plan of action when you go there. Ted and I, started HRD because we teach at a lot of the conferences, the lecture conferences. And it's a good time. The vendor shows are great, fucking pounding beers, good times, all that. But nobody brings dogs. No dogs get worked. And our class is always scenario-based training. So we can give you, the PowerPoint and talk about it and give you ideas for scenarios or kind of thinking outside the box, but it's not really the same. I know for a fact that direct action canine scenario. So those of you who've been through an HRD, we have a scenario called Black Hawk Down, and I flat out stole it from you.
Yeah.
And
we don't talk about.
I tell everybody who it came from and what the scenario is. And so I can tell you right now, if you go to their scenario-based class, there's going to be some decision-making skills that you're going to need to have as a handler. So you should go there. It's not one where you just unhook the leash, dog does the work, and you just moseying on down through the hallway and check some fucking doors and don't do this and don't do that. Just if you want some, really good applicable scenarios that'll test you as a handler, you should go check out Direct Act. How are you going to have time to do that? You got somebody helping you?
You know what? Yeah, man, I do have, I have my guys helping me. I don't see myself having a whole lot of time, but, so I'm going to have to, balance my time between being the face of the association and trying to get out to training as well. But luckily I got a lot of great guys on my staff that kind of help out with that, former unit members, a bunch of SWAT canine handlers as well. So I've got a pretty diverse staff on direct action canine when it comes to running these scenarios. And for my stuff with direct action canine, each of those scenarios is based off of real world occurrences, that have actually happened. And so I tailor all my stuff off of that, and really, they're not hard scenarios. You do the right thing. I'm not trying to make you look like an idiot. I'm not trying to break your dog. Like, it's basically, man, you employ good tactics, it's going to be an easy scenario. If you don't employ your tactics and you don't, have good decision making skills, it's going to get rough for you, but the nice thing, man, is learn this stuff in training and figure out what your strengths and what your weaknesses are. And then you're able to go back and like, all right, let's make a little adjustments to our training methodologies. And, cause again, man, you guys harp on it all the time. Man, it's not field work. You're not out there doing obedience. You're not sending the guy on a bite that's
100 yards.
Yeah, the guy's running. Man, real world doesn't work that way. And unfortunately, man, there's a lot of guys that still train that way, and you guys run into them all the time. And hopefully this event kind of helps guys realize that, hey, man, maybe the training we're doing isn't quite at the level we need it to be. And giving them exposure to these level of guys, is going to help them like, okay, maybe we need to bring in some of these dudes and refine our training methodologies. So, I'm kind of hoping that that's the case. And eventually, obviously, I'm not going to get a guy from California that's going to drive all the way to Indiana, so we're looking at doing these kind of regionally. And eventually, hey, man, as every year, maybe do another one in a different location to kind of bring this to guys in different parts of the country. But yeah, man, so far it's looking great. We're really happy with all the support we've gotten. And again, we're just trying to get the word out and help promote the event. But yeah, super excited about this thing, man.
At the beginning, you said something, you were like, they don't receive a lot of training, but they're used every day. And it's something that Eric and I talk about all the time. And you know this as well as I do, that canine handlers, especially dual purpose, are disproportionately put in the highest instance of use of force of any specialized unit in law enforcement or military. And
absolutely,
they're routinely asked all the time to use a high level of force. And because of that, those handlers need to have quite a bit of training. And, I asked Eric this last time we talked about it, like, how many times did you guys ever have to use force on SWAT, Eric, like lethal force?
Deadly force. I was on 14 and a half years. I think we shot 3 or 4 guys. And then they've shot a couple since then. But
how many people did you bite?
A lot. And I listen, I was on the low end. I was on the low end of the spectrum. My second dog, I probably had 75 bites. 2 of my handlers had $150 or more. They were getting 3 bites a shift. And
Chris,
it's all the time, if you depending on your agency and how busy you are. But most guys with a dog are going to get a few bites in the career, but shoot 0 people. But there's no training for all the other shit. It's just other stuff.
Yeah. And, that's kind of the thing. And, you and I have talked about it before, when dudes are not exposed to like real time Graham decisions, like, is this a biteable offense, or is this not, or do I not? And do I not send the dog? Do I send the dog all in real time? Like, at a lot of the scenarios at HRD, and I'm sure, and some that are going to be here are, do I bite? Do I not bite? Is the dog the right tool for this job, or do we need to do something else? Because it's everything. If you only have a hammer, everything always looks like a fucking nail. So, Eric and I were talking before, and I'm not going to mention where this came from, but we got a study and access to one that kind of, I guess, put into words what we've always known, I think, or put into like real numbers what we've always known. And the outcome of this from a county, and a very active county in the South, the calls for service, and then they looked at it, and the calls for service were cleared exponentially faster anytime a canine guy rolled up on scene. Just the mere fact that a canine guy was there, the calls were cleared faster, which was a saving of man hours, which was a saving of money. And then like they were over 90% more effective when they had a robbery that had just occurred. 92%, I think, is what the study came out as. And then, they had a 41% arrest rate, higher arrest rate if dogs were involved, or call being cleared with dogs being involved. So, it's one of those things. It's a tool that I think is misunderstood and not well supported. And everybody, like you said at the beginning, like, SWAT always has all the money in the world. I don't see SWAT guys selling t-shirts to raise money. That's for damn
For
sure.
Equipment.
No. They just go in and they're like, we need new suppressors. They're like, here's $300,000. Go get them. Sure. Why not?
Yeah, and they call once a month.
Yeah.
If that.
So and we're not talking shit on SWAT guys. I'm just saying, like, because I have a lot of friends that are SWAT handlers, but it's definitely like, oh, you need a new suppressor? Sure, here you go. You need a leash. What the fuck you need that for? Like, you need a leash? I use that a lot more than I use a suppressor. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Like every day.
Oh, yeah.
So the MUTC that you guys are going to, we talked before we started recording that you had never been there. Guys, from your recent past there, they had been there. How did you hear about it, and what did you think when you first went there?
Yeah, so it was actually our buddy John Neal from Cincinnati that
Love Johnny
turned me
Neal.
on. I was when I first started looking at different places that we could potentially hold this. Johnny was like, "Hey, what about Muscatatuck?" And I was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about, man." So he starts describing it to me, and I was like, "Man, that sounds like something we could do." So we're actually hosting this in conjunction with the Cincinnati PD.
Cool.
So they're helping coordinate this and host the event. So that's I ended up flying out there and linking up with Don Meese and Johnny Neal, and we went out and did a site survey. And man, like us talking about the place doesn't do it justice. There's really nothing you can't do out there when it comes to your urban operations, your rural operations. I mean, they've got pretty much every kind of cityscape and that you can think of. Hey, farms, cities, Afghan villages, tunnel systems, collapsed structures. Man, the list goes on and on and on. Like you mentioned, hey, they can flood out neighborhoods, and stuff like that. So, man, it's really impressive, the different capabilities that they have there. And so there's not too many places that you can do this amount of stuff in one location. There's just not a whole lot of training facilities out there that can accommodate all these different types of training. And it's really a great top-notch facility.
It is. Like I said, it was interesting that I didn't know what to think when I was just up there in April with the search and rescue group and the law enforcement. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I thought I was just getting law enforcement guys. When I got there, they had both assigned to me, search and rescue. So we had live find people, we had dead, human remains people, and then law enforcement. And then I found out there are some law enforcement guys that are dual purpose patrol and human remains dogs. I think State Police. I hadn't had that. So it was cool because you moved around different sites, and in each site I could come up with something for each little genre. So if I can mix it up for search and rescue and law enforcement at the same time, what you're going to be able to do for law enforcement and military is that place. There's nothing better. Plus, like you said in the very beginning, environmentally, it's like if you're able to do the high ropes course, if I don't know if they're going to have it open for you or have their people there, that alone, just to get a dog to do that is amazing what they can do there. And people like it. It's a lot of fun. They can go up with their dog and, zip line across a couple buildings. It's pretty neat, man. The place is amazing. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We come back real quick. I want to talk about the nonprofit, get into that a little bit, and how people can help you. So we'll be right back. We have a long-standing relationship with the guys over at HITS Canine Training Conference. It's truly America's premier canine seminar. It is the largest. It is the best. They cover every important topic in the canine industry. Hundreds and hundreds of vendors, thousands of canine people there. Everybody you know in this industry is there. Ted and I will be teaching. HITS 2022 is being held in Orlando, Florida, August 16th to the 19th. Also, check out their website, hitscanine.net. They have other classes that they're putting out online, Zoom classes and all kinds of other things. They're offering in-person classes leading up to HITS 2022, Orlando, Florida, August 16th to the 19th. Check it out, hitscanine.net.
Everyone knows that I live on chicken nuggets and Coors Light. So that doesn't mean your dog should, though. Our friends at Kinetic make it a point to fuel working dogs, and they know that it can be tough and they need high quality food, unlike me, to give them energy and the nutrients that they require. I just subsist on air and Coors Light, but the dogs can't. They actually have to work. So for that, we asked Kinetic, and Kinetic has come up with a great balance of healthy meats and grains and is made specifically for working and sport dogs. They have a full line of foods and supplements available, and they've been working to perfect their line for thousands of dogs in hundreds of departments across the U.S. You can buy it locally online or at Tractor Supply, or you can get it at Chewy. So head over to their website, kineticdogfood.com, 513-615-6904. And get them on the socials at Kinetic Dog Food.
So probably the number one product I've ever advertised for or used that does what they say is Quick Derm by Vet Care. I have it at my house. I have it at the kennel. I have it at the fun house. I have it at the doggy daycare. I have my trainers have it at their house. It is unbelievable how it works. You guys have all heard Ted and I talk about it, how we've gotten tagged by dogs, or dogs do, if you're dealing with working dogs, weird stuff happens, right? Cuts how the hell that happened? Bites, scratches, all kinds of things that happen, especially if you're doing anything in the wooded area, they get tore up. The Quick Derm by Vet Care, it is no exaggeration. It is great. So once daily treatment for any skin condition or small wounds to help stop little issues from becoming big ones. Comes in sprays, ointments, or dressing. Quick Derm is great at creating a protective barrier and promoting wound healing. The best thing, too, is they have a discount code. Get on their website, vetcare.us. That's vetcare.us. Put in the discount code 10WDR in capital letters, 10WDR for 10% off your first order.
These next guys have actually been on the show, and we instructed at the first Tripwire conference down in Florida. Jim O'Brien was a guest on the show, and he runs NC Canine, who has now come onto the show as a sponsor. Jim's been around for quite a long time, about 13-ish years, with experience handling and training law enforcement canines. He uses real-world deployments to develop training program and not rely only on their experience, but current experiences from most of their national canine teams and handlers to provide the best canine partner that you guys can purchase. They provide pet training and police canine services based out of Four Oaks, North Carolina, and they serve the surrounding areas. Feel free to give Jim a call, a text, carrier pigeon, however you want to get a hold of him, to talk to him about police canine training or pets and techniques and methodologies. So hit him up at 919-438-0141 or J O'Brien. That's JOBRIEN at NC, letter K number 9.us. Check the show notes. We'll put it there.
All right, everybody, we are back. Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite. Hope you like those commercials. I'm sure you skipped through them, but if you didn't, thank you very much. We have a lot of good new sponsors, a lot of great people in there. At the bottom of every show, though, in the show notes, we put all the sponsors, what they do, and the discount codes that they offer. It's funny. I had someone message me today. They bought $776 worth of stuff from Ray Allen and got $76 rebate. So using our discount code, they just gave me the old thanks for the $76. I'm like, I will take that in beer. Thank you very much. So talking about the nonprofit that you started, and I say this a lot, we were just talking about it with the SWAT stuff, is there's really no, you see, you have the National Tactical Officers Association. Ohio has OTOA, which you've instructed at and everything like that. Those don't provide, they're not designed to provide like equipment. They do like one training thing a year. NTOA does some training and a lot of legislation stuff for stuff. But what there isn't, so locally we have the Police Canine Association, which was formed to raise money to buy equipment for canine guys. SWAT never has to do that. That's not a thing with them. They don't have to regionally make all these things just to get money to do anything. But what guys don't realize, we talked about this with our friend David Rivera from Black Rocks Canine. If you think, I'll just go start a nonprofit and we'll just get that going and just start bringing in money. Talk to them about how long it took, kind of what the steps are, and how easy it isn't to get going.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. I assumed it would be kind of the same steps as just starting an LLC. And then just, okay, file a little bit different paperwork. Not so much.
Doom.
Right.
Yeah. So, it is not a quick process, which I don't think a lot of people realize. So yeah. But the other thing is, like you said, man, it's one of those where, no, man, there's not a whole lot of funding out there for canines. Yeah, SWAT guys aren't doing car washes,
they're not
to raise money for leashes. So, so again, that's and the organization I came from, man, we were like the SWAT guys. We didn't have to worry about a budget, but my exposure to a lot of law enforcement organizations, I realized like, oh man, these guys are sucking. They are having it like, man, they can't afford a vest. They can't, they have, man, I was talking to some guys. They're like, end of fiscal year, the department doesn't want to fund us for an injury on one of our dogs. They want us to wait 3 months till we get our new budget approved. And I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Yeah. And you just don't see that with some of the other, teams within the departments. Mm-hmm. So again, it's but in order for us to be able to do this, we rely heavily on both private and corporate donations. So for us, like you mentioned before, we want to have that once a year conference that we bring in guys. But one of the other things we want to do is just be able to help organizations out with training. So, hey, here, for instance, you guys, all right, hey, here's however much money to run 15 guys through a course for the week. We want to be able to provide that for organizations and be able to fund that for them. And allow guys to get free training from the donations that we receive from people. That's one of our goals. So the conference and being able to provide training, that we just find instructors that we support and like, hey, we like what those guys do. We like the training that they provide. Let's go ahead and fund that for officers within whatever area. So that is one of the goals that we're looking at. And obviously, like, hey, for the conference with the sponsors and vendors and stuff, we're able to do that. But we also need contributions to come in throughout the year to continue to fund some of the other goals that we have, like the training that we're discussing. That way we can continue to give back to the community with that level of training. So yeah, but the nonprofit, it's definitely easier running a for-profit organization than it is a nonprofit.
Yeah. One thing that I want to point out here too is that even if you are not close to wherever this is at, it is in Indiana right now this year, but one thing that we've found running HRDs is that exposure to this type of training is extremely potent. And I think it's pretty fair to say, like, the one thing that we found is that a majority of the dogs that we're dealing with in the country are what I would say well selected, but not well prepared. Kind of the same thing with some of the handlers, right? And some of that is limited to access to limited exposure, right? So for example, from where you came from, right? Like you said, it wasn't a budget problem. And the learning curve is very, very, very steep, and it starts to flatten very quickly. The last one I literally got back Friday from an HRD, and there was a guy there that had a very nice dog that was young. That he was young. He was a newer handler, and the dog was young. They had not been exposed to a lot of stuff. The dog had not been exposed to a lot of decoy pressure and a lot of environmental exposure. First day, the dog was a little wonky on some things, and by the end of the third day, just with access to an exposure to good decoys and putting the dog in the handler in certain situations, I mean, that how fast they ramped up was amazing. And I told him, I was like, if you keep this shit up for a year, if we were to come back, I wouldn't be able to tell. And so if you're going to this, why is because at the beginning you said it was a 1 day thing. Like, so you get 4 days, you get 20 people, and you're like, fuck, how do I pick? So the access to these people will, with 1 day, just the access to the information alone, and then the hands-on does pay dividends. It does pay a lot of dividends down the road. And so, I would encourage everyone to try and make it for sure. One thing I wanted to ask is, if you're not bringing a dog, are you guys going to do audit spots?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because somebody's going to ask me, I know, and I don't have to answer that.
Yeah.
It'll be the dude.
We definitely are.
Yeah.
It'll be the dude who, believe it or not, was not allowed to bring his dog because he was not allowed to take his cruiser there. That happens all the time. I'm not paying for your gas. What? Come on, man.
That's the thing.
I just get so good. But, so ATK9, AT letter K number 9.org, I believe is the website.
Correct.
And how do we donate? How do we get you money?
All right. So, there is a link right there on the homepage where we can accept donations. So you can do PayPal, pay by credit card, whatever amount you'd like to contribute. So, nothing too big, too small. We appreciate any level of support we can get. Then for corporate sponsors, we've actually got a sponsor page on the website where you can go and look at the different levels of sponsorship. And we also realize, hey man, there's some companies that are just starting out, and they may not be able to reach that sponsorship level and can only give a few $100s. Well, you know what? Like, we definitely appreciate the contribution. We want to treat all these vendors the same, like, hey man, like, we want to help these dudes out and get their name out there as well. So, you can feel free to contact us directly at info@atk9. Then, we're also on Instagram and Facebook. So you can follow us there, get instructor information and highlights and stuff, and then conference information as we get closer to the event. But if, whether it's through private or corporate donations, just feel free to reach out to us and let us know how you'd like to help, and we can instruct you on how to make that happen.
I think I'd have to really think. You guys might be the only organization I know that is offering the training simultaneous, military and law enforcement. At this, taking financing or taking donations in to help push them both. Because what a lot of guys don't understand, like even the military, and some of the guys that are going to be there are at the highest level of working it. But there's a lot of guys that are military handlers that you think, well, shit, he's in the military. He can just cut the leash off and send the dog. He doesn't have any rules.
Oh,
But
yeah.
so those guys, and we know that's not true. Everybody's got their little rules of engagement, even all the way down to the dog. And so those guys are going to be able to come and get the scenarios like we were talking before, where they've got to make decision making right there on the spot. So I can't think of anything. I don't know about you, Ted. I can't think of any other organization that's doing both at the same time.
No. I know of some vendors that do some like specialized training and they're not dedicated to canine, but like they'll bring in dudes from outside to run the canine portion, but I'm not like, no. I know of that there's going to be some dude from an SMU standing next to a fucking handler from a 30-man department. Like that does not happen that often that I can think of. Yeah. So,
and some of the law enforcement guys are it's a good pairing because we talk about this at HRD when I give my bio and I say that I did worked for Cobra with the NSW contract, and everybody's like, ooh, SEALs. And I'm like, guys, I'm telling you, your dogs are as good. You know what I mean? You guys have got good
they
dogs.
All come from the same vendors.
Right, yeah. Exactly. 100%.
And a lot of them bite more people than the SEALs did.
Yeah. Your old unit may probably, I don't know, fails more dogs, I would say, than most of your local law enforcement. But there's guys, I was telling them, I said, you guys got good dogs, man. Just think about it. You got good dogs and you get to work them more often. So that I love it. I think it's a great thing. So now let me ask you this real quick. If someone can't go, but they like what we've said about you and direct action, what do you got going on that front?
Well, that's basically, contacting us and figuring out what type of training that you want. We offer a variety of different types of training courses to guys. So if you can't, just contact us at directactioncanine.com. You can see the different types of courses that we offer, and then you just get together. And the unique thing about us is we look at your needs as a handler and as a department, and then tailor the courses to meet your needs. We're not going to force stuff on you that you don't need and waste your time. So, like hell, when we do the SWAT type stuff, certain departments do certain types of operations and they don't do stuff like other departments. So, man, I want to focus all our time and efforts into the skill sets you do utilize, and not just make you do stuff that is wasting your time and taken away from mastering those other skill sets. So, feel free to reach out and be able to figure out what type of training is going to help your department the best.
Yeah,
I should get you guys over here.
Yeah, if you're a handler in a rural department in like Illinois, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do like urban stuff. And then if you're a handler in fucking Miami-Dade, it doesn't make a lot of sense to learn how to track or to go through a tactical tracking seminar. The chances of those guys having to track are very far and few between. I mean, so thankfully, I think most of the country is kind of a split. Not thankfully, just, a lot of them is like half urban, half split. But I mean, I know guys on SWAT teams that they're like, oh, we don't track. Like, we don't do tactical tracks. We don't do any of that shit. I'm like, no. They're like, no, state guys do that. We don't fucking like. They're like, nope, that's not our jam. I'm like,
or everyone in California.
Well, I mean,
nobody tracks out there.
Well, I mean, on one side, I mean, like on the mountain side, they do. I think like all the search and rescue people do.
Those guys, search and rescue dudes are pretty sweet.
Well, no, like LAPD doesn't fucking track. They just put 900. They do like Hands Across America, fucking perimeter containment setup, and just turn 2 dogs loose and push them into perimeter.
Yeah, so, Red Rover, let shithead come over.
Exactly.
See who can break through your perimeter.
That counts. I mean, that works.
Whatever
works. It's a resource question. But yeah, no, that's a good point, because I mean, I've had a lot of people ask us, like, especially at HRDs, they'll come to me and they'll say, we had one department who I won't name. They're like, we don't do building searches. I'm like, why not? Like, oh, we're prohibited by policy from deploying a dog into a residential structure. I'm like, do what? Why? And Eric, what did you ask him? Like, did you buy somebody's grandma or something?
I said, what happened? Who fucked that up?
Yeah, and they're like,
Who
no,
is that named after?
yeah, exactly. Like whose picture's next to it. And
Mhm.
they were like, oh no, it's just a thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys, they're like, so none of our dogs do building searches. I'm like, God damn. All right. Well, do you use robots? Nope, we don't do that either. I'm like, oh, okay. So, and that was there. That was, I was like, well, I guess that kind of, I was like, not even with SWAT. And Eric was like, what if they had just shot a police officer, robbed a bank? And they're like, nope, can't do it. I'm like, God damn. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
sure.
you gotta man up and fight some policy at that point. But
Yeah. So, I mean, if they came and they're like, oh, we're going to do a building search, and you're like, sorry, we
yeah.
can't do it. So,
Yeah.
All right, guys, this episode has been brought to you by great sponsors of ours. Please don't skip through this. Take a listen to them. One of our oldest sponsors and great friends of ours are the people down at Highland Canine down in North Carolina. I really like them. We see them at all the conferences. I know a lot of people have been to their school for dog trainers. They've been on the podcast. Highland Canine, they're a full service canine and pet dog training business where they can train you to be a trainer. They can get you a dog. They have handler classes. They have supervisor classes. They have trainers courses for just LE. They have them for anybody who wants to be in the dog business, be a dog trainer of any kind. Check them out. Their website is tacticalpolicecaninetraining.com, tacticalpolicecaninetraining.com. If you are smart, you'll go down there in the winter. It is North Carolina. It is warm. You get to work dogs. It's no joke school, guys. You're not going down there for a month and rushing through it. They're actually trying to make you real deal dog trainers. Tacticalpolicecaninetraining.com.
next is a sponsor that's been with us for quite a while, Dogtra. I love Dogtra stuff, and they continually keep bringing out new products. One of the things that I've been using a lot lately is the new Tone Box. If you're a pet trainer, or if you train a lot of police officers, and I harp at my guys all the time about timing. And this thing literally compares to the remote. And when you're using the remote, whether you're using Nick, constant, or vibrate, it makes a noise. So you can get the timing down 100% consistent. And so I can demonstrate how to do an out with an e-collar immediately, quickly, and it is so effective that I can't believe that it took me forever to figure it out to get that. They've also got these new comfort feather like titanium things that go on the collars that are fantastic for making sure we got contact. It actually has 6 points, and this comes in 2 sizes, and it's a titanium feather thing. They're awesome. They got comfort contact points for the bark collars, the YS600. One of my favorite things. I have about 50 of them at the kennel, and it is dead silent. And I put them on all the pet dogs, and I can leave them on because they have the comfort contact points, and they're fantastic. All this stuff you can get at dogtra.com. And if you use the discount code WDR10, you get 10% off a single item over $200. So that covers the ball trainer, that covers the 1900 Ask Hands Free, which is my personal favorite for all the big dogs. It covers the 2-dog system, the 202C, which I use for the 2-dog pet guys, and fantastic. So dogtra.com, or go to @dogtraofficial on all the socials. That's Facebook, Instagram, all those places. So hit them up, dogtra.com.
Guys, I don't even shop any other sites when I'm looking for everything for dogs. Our one-stop shop for anything pet dog training and police dog training, hunt dog training, anything you need, you can find at rayallen.com. They have been doing it forever. We have a great relationship with them. Again, they're at all the conferences. You can stop up and talk to them. They have more stuff there than any place. rayallen.com. They are amazing. We have a great, really, really good relationship with those guys. Like I said, I get on their website. I do not look anywhere else. I just get on Ray Allen. Why should I? Fill up my cart, pay it, boom, shipping. Here we go. Everything's coming. rayallen.com. And guess what? We do have a discount code for them. Working Dog Radio for 10% off. It's all one, Working Dog Radio, and it's all caps. Check them out, rayallen.com.
I'm not too ashamed to admit that I used our own discount code to buy stuff for the kennel. We have American Aluminum next. They're a new sponsor for moving forward. They have been around for quite a while. They manufacture a wide variety of products, from the high quality cam lockers and toolboxes to a huge line of products designed to meet the ever-changing needs of law enforcement community. Back in 1992, due to the demand for safe, secure transport for a nearby law enforcement department's canine, they introduced the very first Easy Rider canine. They have continuously grown and expanded products, catering to the needs and wants of the valued customers and high-profile clientele. Over the years, as the needs have changed, they have evolved and expanded their products to include inmate transport systems, canine training aids, canine inserts, contraband, containment, and animal control systems, just to name a couple things. So you can find them at easyrideronline.com. That is Easy Echo Zulu Rider Online.com. You can find them on the socials at American Aluminum Accessories. And then you can hit them up toll free, 1-800-277-0869. You don't have to worry about writing all that down. We're going to put it in the show notes. So just scroll down to the bottom, write it down, click the link, takes you straight there out into your phone.
Our first sponsor we ever had, he's our ride or die. He's been with us since the beginning, is Arno over at ALM Canine Equipment. His stuff is so good. Ted, gets suits. Ted's suit, he's had it for a long time. Arno's fixed it. He's taken 1 million bites on it. It still holds up. The thing's amazing. I've got a suit from him. I love it. Use it all the time. But the main thing that I really love about Arno is his hidden sleeves are ridiculously amazing. They are the best. And his tugs. I usually buy tugs from Arno by the box load. He'll send me a whole bunch of them. I hand them out to the handlers, new handlers when they come in, experienced handlers. They last for a long time. They're amazing. The craft work is great. Arno's doing all the sewing there. He's got pre-made suits. He can do custom-made suits, everything you need out there. And he's out there in sunny Las Vegas. Get on his website, check him out, almcanineequipment.com, almcanineequipment.com. Discount code WD Radio, all caps, 10% off your first order. Check them out. Yeah, if you ever get any group of people that want to do some work with you up this way and they don't really know where to go, let me know. My building, the Funhouse, 40,000 square feet of hallways and rooms, and I built a simunition shoot house in there, 10-room shoot house.
And it's fucking dark too. You can run nods in there, and during the middle of the day,
during 9 o'clock in the morning, you can have night vision because it is pitch black.
And there's a fucking tombstone in the basement.
Yeah, there's this haunted as fuck.
That's maybe
pretty good.
Maybe fucking ghost. You need to call Zach Bagans, have him come out.
And I have the only thing is you're better off doing it in the winter because there's no AC in the building, and it's fucking toasty. But there's heat and bathrooms, so winter it is the perfect place to come up and train. We have a good time in there, and we don't care if you spill shit on the carpet. And everything. I let somebody come in and do a flashbang class for these non-pyro flashbangs that are pretty sweet. Somehow they put 3 huge burn marks in the floor.
Yes,
they're with their non-pyro fucking flashbang.
Excellent.
So yeah. I come back like too late. I leave. I just open the doors and I have a classroom in there, and we got Wi-Fi, and we got speaker system throughout. We can play all kinds of weird noises and shit. I just open it up, leave, come back 2 days later. I'm like, what is that?
What you guys do?
Oh, well, I just moved the couch over top of it like I would at my house. Just put it right over there.
Flip the mattress over.
Nope. Years later, somebody will move and go, what is that? I'll say, I have no idea what that is. A mouse must have done it. So signing up. The conference is September 27th to October 1st. Sign up is on the website.
Yep.
Piece of cake.
So you
get on there
up for either the coming through as a team and doing the training, or as an auditor.
Okay.
And at the beginning, you mentioned there's a cap. So there's what are you guys capping it at, handler wise?
So right now, we laid on a few more new instructors here within the last month. And I think, so what we're going to do is we're going to cap it at about 250. So, that's one thing I wouldn't wait around. At the end of July, we're going to go ahead and the fee goes from 500 to 625. So, definitely financially better to go ahead and sign up now. And the other thing is, you want to make sure that you get in there early so you can get the courses that you want. So if you wait till the end, you may not get the course selections that you're looking for. And that would kind of suck. Like you guys mentioned earlier, man, Eric, you were talking about be smart with the courses you select. You want to not waste your time on courses that aren't going to benefit you. Now, I think that every course out there is going to benefit you, and they all tie together as well. But, you know, like you may have some weaknesses that, you know, hey man, why am I going to waste my time learning how to rappel? You know, if that's not a skill set that I need within my department, but I don't know how to decoy, you know? So, hey man, just be smart about your course selection and pick the courses that are going to benefit you the most. And yeah, do it early, because those courses are going to fill up, and then you're not going to get the ones, because that's what's going to happen. You on the registration, you'll get your 5 primary choices, and then you're going to have a secondary choices as well. So if we can't fit you into those primary choices, we're going to go ahead and start picking off your secondary list of choices as well. And I mean, we're going to do our best to get you in there, but yeah, if you wait to the last minute, you know, I can't guarantee that you're going to get those courses that you desire.
Cops, I know you.
I knew you.
All of you are last minute dudes. I'm telling you, it's a mistake. Oh, here's the other thing to bring up too. So they don't got to get a hotel room.
Yeah, or food. No per diem.
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so I've stayed there.
I'm not going to tell people what to do, but I mean,
right. The accommodations are just fine on base. Bring your toiletries. You know, it is not a hotel where you can walk down to the lobby and get what you forgot. But there is perfectly good rooms in there, right there on site. So when you're done, you just drive 1 minute over to where your thing is at, crack a beer, and have a good time, hang out with the boys, and it's a great place to train. Like, it's really, really cool. So you guys don't want to miss out. A lot of agencies go there, and there's a reason why they go back every year. That place is that cool. So get into the tunnels if you can. Maybe there'll be some time to stick around in some of that stuff if it's not being used. It's just really neat. We broke the elevator when I was there the other day, though, back in April, doing my usual elevator bites, which rocks the elevators back and forth. We broke them.
We did that last week in HRD.
If it's broken, I apologize. It's the hospital. At the hospital, if the hospital elevator's broke, I am sorry that you had to run up all the steps instead. So
no, you're not.
No, not really. So anyways, man, we're really, really glad you came on. I'm glad we were able to get a hold of you. We'll talk about it a lot. Gotta try to get Donnie on. Get Donnie on here.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did an HRD down there in Cincinnati, and most of the dogs were from his training group. They were some of his dogs, and then from his training group, whether he or Johnny Neal or anyone else trained them or did it from the beginning, or they trained with them. And we all agreed that it was probably top 2 or 3 best groups of dog handlers and trainers and dogs that we had seen. Easily. Solid dogs, bit hard as shit.
And there were some swamp donkeys there too. There were some big fucking dogs. Like,
I mean, you guys don't learn. You guys, this is your second dog. This thing's 88 pounds, 90 pounds.
Fucking I didn't pull that motherfucker. Other than the Delaware State Police, like, that was easily the largest dog group ever. Delaware State Police, like, I think they only select dogs. This is a lie, but it feels like it's the truth. That they have to be over 100 pounds. Like, they're just
I'm like, you rode that dog here.
Fucking dogs, huge dogs.
Yeah. Donnie's real smart too, man. The dude networks, whether it be pet dog food companies, your company.
Oh yeah.
Spike's Canine. Those guys down there are smart. They're really smart about taking advantage of everything that's offered just by being canine guys. And so they're really good down there, man. I like them guys a lot. Not a big fan of the city itself. I think it's wasted waterfront that they could do so much more with, but that's a whole different topic.
Who do we know that lives
there?
You're
absolutely right about Donnie. Those guys have been instrumental in finding us a lot of support for this venue. And we wouldn't have been able to do half the things we've come up with if it weren't for Donnie and his guys. So yeah, man, shout out to those guys, because they're huge help, man. So we couldn't have paired up with a better group for the this first one.
Yeah, it's not too far from them. A couple hours probably from where they're at. So,
Not even. Yeah, it's 45 to an hour.
oh, is it really? Okay.
And
Sweet.
man,
All right.
yeah, and you've also got it's man, that's one thing about Muscatatuck. It's located in such an ideal place, like 45 minutes west of Cincinnati, hour south of Indy, hour north of what is it, Louisville. So you've got it's right in the middle of a lot of big cities there. So yeah, it's
Which means it's
in a
easy
great
to get to.
location. Yeah, absolutely.
Fly in and out of. So, or
Yep.
if you're
Yeah.
going to audit, you can just fucking fly
Don't
in.
blink because you will miss the entrance though. As you're driving along and you're like, fuck, there it is. It's a blinking light. And there's a schoolhouse on the other side. Schoolhouse, remember that at night. Schoolhouse, blinking light, make a right, way in the back. So it's
a little fire station there.
yeah. It's pretty cool. So, anyways, man, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. This has been good.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you guys helping get the word out.
Yep. Everybody
July 3rd.
July 3rd. Yeah. Check the show notes. This will go out on July 3rd. Everybody check the show notes. All the links for the sign up and everything will be in there because you're not going to write it down and you're not going to remember it. So just scroll down in the thing and we'll put it in the show notes. So yeah, this has been good for sure, man. Jean-Claude, thanks for coming on again. And for sure. E.
We'll see you.
All right.